Welcome to the Rite Focus, a podcast for writers, newbies and veterans, and everyone in between. We're hosted by M.A. Lee with the assistance of Remy Black and Edie Rooms, all from Writers Inc. books. Our focus is productivity, process, craft, and tools. Each episode lasts as long as it takes to fix a quick dinner, drive a short commute, or take a brisk walk. Resources and links are in the show notes. Visit us at theritefocus.blogspot.com. Now, on to this week's episode. Wine is heady stuff. A simple goblet of wine relaxes us. A mega-pint or bottle can tip us into trouble. Do you prefer the creamy full body of a fine cabernet or the bite of a sauvignon blanc? Perhaps a medium red like a spicy Zinfandel or a lighter Riesling, or fruitier sweet-forward wine like a strawberry wine, homemade, requiring only fresh strawberries, sugar, yeast, and water. Hi everyone. This week's episode is another story song, not a ballad of love, betrayal, and death. This is a sweet song which still has a bite, a rite of passage that leaves a heady memory in the speaker. It's Strawberry Wine, launched into country music in 1996 as a debut song for Deanna Carter. Even though it's country, it still speaks to all of us. The song became a #1 hit on the country charts. The writers are Matraka Berg, who began writing in 1982, and Gary Harrison, who began writing in the 1970s. Together as a writing duo and apart, both have penned numerous hits for a wide range of artists across the music spectrum. Strawberry Wine seems a simple little song, which has a story we've heard over and again, but I had a difficult time finding a way to speak about it. So what is this story we've heard over and over? It's the story of a brief summer fling, one that ushers our speaker from girl to woman, a child looking wide-eyed at all the wonders that the world offers, and a woman seeing those wondrous things are both sweet and bitter. Remember our 4 requirements of song: clear communication, heartfelt emotion, powerful imagery, strong lines. And by the way, find links to the lyrics and to the official video, along with the biographies of Berg and Harrison, in the show notes. We have 2 simple stanzas, double the length of the bridge stanza, and an unchanging chorus repeated 3 times. But this song is anything but simple, and I only know a few women who, on hearing it for the first time, didn't tear up remembering a bittersweet fling in their own past. Sweet regrets, and that's the heartfelt emotion all through this song. The song begins with our 2 characters, no meandering into hazy memories, which writers should learn, but immediately with, he was working through college on my grandpa's farm. I was thirsting for knowledge, and he had a car. These 2 are not equal, are they? Oh, I'm not talking about the socioeconomics of this pairing. On that alone we could write a long essay, dry, acrid, bitter, self-righteous. No thank you. These 2, they want different things, don't they? He has a dream of his life after college, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to honestly achieve that dream. Hard work, persistence, and yes, sir, to whatever job the boss needs. She's wanting to explore. That's her thirst for knowledge. We discover in the chorus that she's 17, not yet launched into the world, but she's tasted the power of sensual allure with high school boys, and she wants to explore that excitement. And he had a car. We don't have powerful imagery yet, but our characters and situation are clear in our minds. The first stanza continues with the speaker's revelation of years later. She's caught somewhere between a woman and a child. The woman burned by reality thinks in practicalities. The child leaps into excitement without considering consequences. And now we have our powerful imagery details that carry weighted meaning. The memory continues. One restless summer, we found love growing wild on the banks of the river on a well-beaten path. Summer, hot, sweaty, seeking relief. In the American South, that temperature is in the 90s, and perspiration is rolling down even when we stand in the shade. A restless summer? Oh my, that's a recipe for disaster, not for some sweet drink like strawberry wine. She's bored and restless and looking for something to do while she stays with her grandparents. And he? Well, farm work, forking hay, plowing fields. There's only two things you're thinking about: cooling off and anything but the tedious farm work. They find each other, she intent on exploration, he intent on relief. By a riverbank, the water running low and sluggish, the sun's glint on the water nearly blinding, and there they are on a well-beaten path. That's the old story. Boy meets girl, and they fall in love. The speaker concludes the first stanza with, "It's funny how those memories, they last." Impact events. A personal marker for her, certainly. We don't know how he was affected. Impact events, those are crystal clear memories that we still recall vividly. Details bright and clear, what we saw, what we heard, what we said, what we did, what we thought, years and years after the event. The birth of a child, the day we marry, deaths of loved ones, planes into the Twin Towers and people walking through the dusty ash. And our first time. Because even if we didn't express it, that event is tied to a hopeful emotion that deepened the experience. The only two emotions stronger than hope are love and death. We've reached the chorus. Our speaker's memory of that summer is like strawberry wine and 17. Both heady stuff, both sweet, a taste of the usual, but mixed with something a little more exciting. 17 is nearly 18, nearly adult, nearly free, even though that's a false freedom. And strawberry wine, that's the sweet fruit fermented with yeast and sugar into a drink that's little dangerous. The hot July moon saw everything. July, the center of summer, not the tentative beginnings of June, not the desperate ending that approaches so rapidly in August. July is full-blown summer, and her first taste of love is full-blown with him, green on the vine, new, a little tart, ever ripening, bitter with the sweet like strawberry wine. The second stanza reminds us the speaker is looking back on that summer. I still remember when 30 was old. If our speaker started this out of boredom, it's become something greater. For my biggest fear was September when he had to go. What are her fears? That their relationship won't last? That they'll grow apart? Those fears come true. A few cards and letters and one long-distance call. We drifted away like the leaves in the fall, an image that I absolutely love. Both of them are guilty of not maintaining the connection. Too much of their immediate life interfered. Letters are hard to write. Cards are easy. Back in the day, long-distance calls were difficult and could become expensive, and it was hard to negotiate a common time to talk. Now we have immediacy with cell phones always with us, emails and texts. I have no nostalgia for that part of our past. But the speaker, she fell harder over that summer than she expected. Year after year she returns to the farm just to remember the taste of her bittersweet memories, like strawberry wine. And that's one of the strongest lines in this song. It's not just because of the repetition. It's how that detail and taste captures the heartfelt emotion, and it's the sound of the words performed with a wail by Deanna Carter. The bridge emphasizes the passage of time, and that bittersweet passage of time is what separates the song from others on the same topic of a past summer fling. This speaker is haunted by the past. She cannot let it go. The fields are grown over. No one's working the farm anymore. There's nothing time hasn't touched. The house is not sprucely painted. The interior is dusty. Weeds fill her grandmother's flower garden. The barn's falling in, and her grandparents are likely gone. But what touches her hardest is that hot July of years ago. And then our speaker shares her dilemma with us, the reason she cannot forget that summer and still clings to it. Is it really him, or the loss of my innocence I've been missing so much? That self-analysis, that question that she continues to ask, that's the key to this song's power, and to the power that all writers want to infuse into their writing. The self-analysis is the key to unlocking the soul of our protagonist. We can give our protagonist opinions about events and other characters, especially the antagonist. But the strongest opinion our protagonist should have in our writing is the question she or he asks about the truth of their dearest desire. Not what they want, not the goal they picked, but the reason that it is desired. And look at that word desire. It's the soul's longing, not some intellectual wish, not a sexual want, not a physical need. The soul yearns for whatever will fill the hole, the wound that damaged the soul. In this song, did the speaker mistake love for her regret? Or was it the loss of her innocence? We don't know. We don't have enough clues. We know that she began out of boredom, seeking excitement, seeking a head start on adulthood. We also know that the relationship became more to her. For here's one fact of a female's inherent psychology. Her soul bonds quickly to the man she trusts with heart and body, and each time she must sever that bond, leaves a wound on her soul. It's sad. The memory becomes bittersweet, and we toast our wide-eyed younger self for the courage we needed when we sip our wine to add a little haziness to that memory, blurring the bitter regret and savoring the sweetness. Knowing our character's psychology is more than picking a personality. We need to know motivations and caused consequences, planned or not. We need to know unexpected, inherent reactions to chosen actions. As writers, we need to have more than a touch of psychoanalysis, not just the goal, not just the motivation, but the reasons for those. We can have a woman desperate to swindle money from a particular businessman because the money will help her brother escape his clutches. But why is helping her brother important enough to risk her own freedom? For caught, she's going to go to jail. Think deeper and give your characters a dilemma. Give them a bittersweet impact event associated with that dilemma. Give that impact event a time, a place, a situation, and tag back to that impact event with a key descriptor like strawberry wine, bittersweet and strong, heady. That's all for today. We continue our fall into poetry through October. Join us. Every writer is after memorable writing, whatever will strengthen our words and ideas so they haunt our audience. We want our audience to return again and again to our writing, either to recapture that original impact or to puzzle out a question that wasn't answered. Capture our audience, and they stay with our writing to the end. Satisfy our audience, and they seek more of our writing. This is our goal. Win-win. us and them. Our series, Fall into Poetry, would seem to appeal only to poets, but that's a surface glance. We writers can learn from any writing style, poetry teaching fiction, dramas teaching nonfiction, any mix-up we can contemplate. Join the Rite Focus all through autumn as we examine great poems that teach a multitude of lessons for all writers. Thanks for listening to The Rite Focus, a podcast for writers at all levels, hosted by Emma Lee from Writers Inc. Books, assisted by Renee Black and Edie Runes. Our focus is productivity, process, craft, and tools. Music is licensed through Audio Jungle, called Background Music Loop. Its creator is Alexander Polishchuk, known on Audio Jungle as Plastic 3. The music comes in different iterations. Show notes and resource links for this and other episodes can be found at theritefocus.blogspot.com. Write to us at winkbooks@aol.com when you have questions, comments, and speculations. We will try to answer you as quickly as possible. By the way, we will not mind your email address. That's rude. If you find value in our content, share with your writing friends or write a review. We're small beans here without the advertising budget of the big peeps, and you can make a difference. And whatever occurs, write on.